Going to be a very difficult winter. We all knew this. It's not exactly a surprise to hear that. But now it's come from the acting Eskom CEO, Calib Cassim, the power utility, indicating that, and I hope you're ready for this, that the country could go into stage 8 power cuts in the next few months. So some residents already spending at least, not even nearly 8 hours a day without power. So senior reporter Aviwe Mtila on that story for us this morning. Hello to you, Aviwe, and appreciate your time in going out and talking to residents this morning, because up to now there's been a suggestion that we've been in stage 8. Eskom hasn't said stage 8. We've stayed in stage 6 technically, air brackets, air commas, but they've all believed we have. Now Eskom has come out and said, actually, it's probably going to be the year we go to stage 8. This is going to be a mess, isn't it?
A very cold mess, Gareth, if you are to ask the Eskom acting CEO Calib Cassim, who suggests that we're going into this winter season 3,000 megawatts less than what we were this time last year. In fact, the suggestion is that we will hit stage 8 if, in fact, the unplanned losses do tip over that 15,000 megawatts. In fact, I just want to gauge some of the sentiments on the ground. I am on Malabongwe Drive, where, of course, traffic is already snaking, but I want to hear just some voices on the ground. Yes, Swam, we're going into the winter season. We just want to get your sentiments around what you're hearing, the possibility of stage 8, and as well as Eskom working on a possibility to go to schedule 16, for example.
It's actually very sad to hear that, because currently at the moment some of us, like, we can't afford the cost of living that is so high, because this is going to make a huge impact in terms of increases in our households. We can't afford gas, we can't afford electricity, and then now we have to opt for takeaways, which is something that is very out of our budget. So it's sad to hear this. It's very disappointing. I don't know what our government is doing about this. I know Eskom is a private sector, but there's also part of government involved in it. So I think they need to actually sit down and have a thorough conversation and stop making it political, because I feel it's political more than anything else.
How is it practically at home surviving 16 hours without electricity in a 32-hour cycle?
It's hard. It's very hard. It's difficult to survive at this kind of rate that the load shedding it's carrying on, Yeah.
Okay, just some of the sentiments on the ground, Gareth, but I want you to hear from the acting CEO of Eskom himself, Calib Cassim, just on what to expect this winter season. Let's take a listen to that.
It is going to be a difficult winter, as the chairman has indicated, and in this presentation we'll highlight the contributing factors. Substantially, we're going into this winter with 3,000 megawatts less capacity than we had during the last winter. 3 units of Kusile plus the 1 unit of Kuburg. However, the focus during this winter, first and foremost, must be the performance of the generation fleet around the energy availability factor. And in presenting this winter plan with the support of the system operator and energy planning under Mr. Skeppers, we really focused on the key objective to keep our unplanned loss factor at less than 15,000 megawatts. However, we know it's been a struggle to keep it at this level, and in maintaining that level of 15,000, that then corresponds to much more lower levels of load shedding during morning peaks, during the day and evening peaks.
Well, Aviwe, as I say goodbye to you, I think everyone was a little astonished to just hear how calm all the Eskom executives were as they were describing what's going to be chaos in winter. They were all quite calm the way they explained it, didn't they? All right, now the issue you're going to have, apart from what your guest was saying to you earlier and what it means for her home life, I'm looking at the traffic behind you, and that isn't even that bad, because I saw there was an official points person. But where there aren't points people, that's just a nightmare. You can end up camping there for days.
It's one of the few intersections in Johannesburg where you actually see official pointsmen. On the others, you'll see unofficial pointsmen that even ask money from the motorists as they go by. But if you are to ask the African National Congress, more pointedly, the Secretary General of the African National Congress, he'll tell you that load shedding will be a thing of the past by the end of this year. It's some of those sentiments, Gareth, that we've been hearing, for example, when we first had the event of stage 6 back in 2019. The president had to cut short an overseas trip to come back and deal with load shedding. You wonder what was actually being dealt with, because we're now being told of the possibility of stage 8 this cold winter, and they're actually working on schedules to go on stage 16, Gareth, some of what we heard. So you actually wonder what's been done with all these promises going on, especially ahead of even the elections. It seems to suggest that there might be some politicking going on, but well, the reality on the ground is that it's bitterly cold, and we're told that this winter is going to be a very cold one, given the loss of electricity that we don't have.
Aviwe Mtila, thank you very much indeed. And yeah, quite right. And I can't help but wonder, Aviwe, if it's not time for us to get JMPD on, because if we all know how bad the traffic is now, and it's possibly going to go into stage 8, hopefully JMPD and whatever the metro is in your area around the country, we can try and get more points people at these robots, just to try and get people to work as quickly as possible, try and keep the economy going.